Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'll be your moderator, Brandon Jones. Joining me this week, panelists Brad Ellis.
Hi.
What's up? Michael Damiani.
How's it going?
My review spittin' embargo hidden co-moderator, Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
Make it all happen.
5:01 a.m. embargoes.
Oh yeah, starting the week on a Monday. 5:01 on a Monday.
Yep.
The
Not as
01
bad.
is the killer because then it's like I actually have to push the button because the schedule
Right.
things don't do the 01s. So
Not as bad as jury duty. Too bad. Make it all happen in the control room. Isla Hank.
Hi.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, we are here to discuss some of the biggest headlines in video games this week. But before we do that, we must answer for all the mistakes we made last week. Isla, begin corrections music, please.
Boop.
This is a big one, man. We didn't touch on the fact that, like, Kraven the Hunter is clearly in that Spider-Man trailer. We didn't talk about him at all, and I thought about it while
people
we were
keep saying that
watching
name.
it.
I have no clue who that character is.
Kraven is amazing
No
in
idea.
the old classic animated series. He's got a big, like, tiger-looking collar.
Oh, I remember that
And
guy.
he's just a big badass hunter. So obviously, like, I'm a big fan of his, and he just, like, you know, it's very Predator, and he just, like, kind of naturally encounters. He's a smart person. It's nice to, like, I like when Batman and Spider-Man fight people who aren't, like, total psychopaths. And he's talking about challenging these two people, which is so great for Kraven to come in. And he's not someone we remember from games a lot. And I thought of that. We were watching the trailer, and then just forgot about it when we were doing reactions, forgot about it when we did the podcast. And like 20 people brought it up, and I'm upset that I didn't mention it. And also Venom is in, of course. Control's published by 505. Epic Games is actually publishing Alan Wake Remastered, so we talked about if the sales of Control would have an impact on the remaster. Possibly not. The game I was talking about where you can manually put the claws out and bring them back in when you want to is X-Men 2 Wolverine's Revenge. Thank you for the person that said that.
Cool.
Dark Souls 2 does have a map, although not in the
Yeah.
traditional sense.
I think Hubert tried to say that, and then I heard him try to say that and thought about saying it. It's just in the bottom of a house.
You obtain
There's
the
a
house
room
key
that
for
you
the
can see
mansion
it?
near the
Yeah.
pit in
Yeah,
Majula
yeah,
from
yeah.
Kale
Oh,
the
come
cartographer, first appearing in the forest of fallen giants. On the floor inside the mansion, there will be a map of the world. 8 flames will appear on the map after defeating certain bosses.
Yeah.
This will award the player with the Curious Map achievement.
It's not even a great map.
I know. God of War Ragnarok Gran Turismo 7 were confirmed to be delayed to 2002 in a PlayStation blog interview with Herman Hulst back in June.
2002, huh?
2022, sorry. I'm not good with dates in this podcast. I'm not good with dates. You're lucky you're all the way over there on the other side of that desk. And they were also both confirmed to be cross-gen at that point. On the PlayStation blog, Insomniac stated, "We're suddenly standing in front of Sony Interactive Entertainment and Marvel, formally pitching a PlayStation 5 game starring the adamantium clawed mutant. Since you just saw the announced teaser, we can confirm that the pitch seemed to go pretty well, confirming that it was Insomniac that
Nice.
brought them to them and got the go-ahead. And corrections music, please.
Boop.
Before we jump into some NPDs, some legal jargon. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're an expert, though. You're an expert of the allies. You're here. We're gonna play starring role. Have you played starring role yet?
No.
Starring
Oh,
roles.
nice.
This is very important. We have some, we're close to Hollywood.
Right.
We have a Hollywood mind about us here at EC Allies, and some high-profile casts have had shakeups. We need to replace those actors with video game characters. We got 2 films we need to say that are in dire straits. The first one breaks my heart. Javier Bardem left the production of No Country for Old Men. He's out. He's gone. He's no longer in this film. An iconic
Brutal.
performance. Who will replace him for the intimidating role of Anton Chigurh? Will it be Vaz Montenegro, Pyramid
Please
Head,
no. Oh my god.
or Tom Nook?
Tom looks pretty good.
Please.
Tom Nook playing Anton Chigurh would
That's
be
pretty good,
pretty
yeah.
fun.
What is
when,
it, a
like-
quarter? What does he flip? What's
Yeah,
the thing? There's like a
yeah.
dime or a
Yeah.
nickel.
Was it the scene with like Woody Harrelson, whatever? Like just on the chair,
Yeah.
like just having talk.
All right. Keep in mind, I mean, you were the one who came up with the segment. Can multiple people play different roles? See, like Geralt of Rivia come
There's
up a
a
lot.
thing.
Pyramid Head came
We'll
up in
have
3
to
of
see
these.
if somebody starts getting a lot. Like we might
Right.
have to say like, yeah, they can't schedule that many in a year.
But like Pyramid Head was probably bummed when he got the call, like you're not in it. But then that opens him up
Yeah.
for potentially other things. TL Coleman submits the unfortunate news that Martin Sheen has disappeared. Not just walked off, disappeared from the set of Apocalypse Now.
Oh
He's
my
gone.
God.
This is the protagonist of this
I love that.
amazing historic film. He cannot perform his role of Captain Benjamin Willard. These video game characters have come in on short notice to replace him. Big Boss, specifically from Peace Walker,
Okay.
Peace Walker. Okay.
James Sunderland
Oh,
from
baby.
Silent Hill 2,
Oh baby.
A lot of Silent Hill love today.
or Senwa from Hellblade.
Oh man.
Apocalypse Now.
Oh my gosh.
It follows a weirdly. I never thought about this, but there's a weirdly similar arc between Apocalypse Now, Heart of Darkness, and Silent Hill 2. So James would be funny. Plus, it'd be fun. I'm picturing who would be funniest to see in their tidy whities, like drunk in a hotel room, like flailing around.
right.
Like that's the
Crying.
scene I'm thinking of.
Cutting themselves.
Yeah, cutting up themselves up on a mirror. All of them would be great.
Yeah, Big Boss would be funny too.
Yeah, I love Big Boss.
What do we think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with James.
Oh, okay. All right.
James.
I was thinking Senua, but I can go with James. I'm in a disadvantage because I haven't actually seen any of these movies this time, even though they're legendary movies.
You would like
This
Apocalypse
is
Now.
the end.
Apocalypse Now is very good. No
Apocalypse
Control of
Now,
Men.
real
It's
good.
very good. They're both good. We can confirm.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody doesn't like these movies, right?
Heart of Darkness.
Thank you for those very much. And I just have to say, I said it last podcast. The submissions for these are just
Just
the
great.
best part of my job. They're really, really, really good. Thank you for those. Let's talk about the August NPDs.
Yay.
We haven't talked about the NPDs in a while.
Yeah.
There's been lots of crazy things that have happened in video games this summer. Lots of announcements, lots of scandals and whatnot.
And
lots of fun
lots
things
of
to talk about
delays.
business-wise. Yeah. And one of the reasons I've been a little timid about the NPDs is last year just broke every single record in the book. And so it's like I wasn't really sure Switch selling a lot, PlayStation 5 selling a lot was really like compelling content to bring to the Easy podcast. But there are some interesting things in here. August is one of those months that happens seasonally where the same things kind of bubble to the surface. Anybody know what the top one game was?
Is it Madden?
In August?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like whenever the Mad Month or the Call of
Yep,
Duty month
August.
is,
Madden.
when you look at that top 10 of the year, just leave a blank space for both Call of Duty and Madden. But shout out obviously to Matt Piscatella, Executive Director, Video Game Industry Advisor at the NPD Group. So because of that growth, I didn't, numbers in general, I was kind of timid to bring to the podcast. Surprised then that hardware content accessories spending grew 7%. We're still up over this like amazing year we had last year. $4.4 billion, an August record. Year-to-date consumer spending totaled $37.9 billion, 13% up from the same period in 2020, from the beginning of the year to now. So everything is still up. Hardware sales make sense because we're deeper into next gen. Switch sold the most units. PlayStation made the most money. After 10 months on the market, PlayStation 5 remains the fastest selling PlayStation platform in history. It's crazy to get that note, and then later on, they're like, we have to keep in mind that, the chips are,
Shortage,
it's a tough
yeah.
chip shortage and everything that we got. It's like, why to even note that? Because it's the fastest selling PlayStation platform in history. So,
Just the demand, man.
is that ever going to change, Damiani? Do you think that train is just going to keep on chugging for a long, long time?
Like PlayStation 5 just selling well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
OLED, Switch Plus, is anything going to dethrone it?
Well, I mean, it's saying the fastest selling PlayStation.
Yeah, that's
Switch has been
Just
the
in
top
terms of this-
selling for 33 months or something crazy.
Just in terms of it's the most units, and PlayStation in general always makes the most money. But just
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because it costs
the dollar sales. Yeah.
because it costs more. So, yeah, I mean, I think the PS5 has a good chance, of topping up. I mean, it's coming off like PlayStation 4 having like a gargantuan effort, breaking that 100 million mark. Right. It's like it's
Think so,
going, it's
yeah.
up there. It's charting high. I know it's been like slowing down, but I mean, PS5 just picked up the momentum, and I think that's a big deal for Sony because I think the last time they had kind of like that momentum carry was like PS1 to PS2. Because PS3 was kind of like a misstep for them. PS4
Back on track a
back
little.
on track,
Right.
did very well, and like they've capitalized on that I think very well. And yeah, I have to imagine like if they can ever get the production to like, hey, we have we can make as many PS5s as we want. We're gonna like sell even more of these, and they're still selling out. Like they have the chance, really shoot up there in those
Right.
numbers. So I think they're in a really good position right now.
Yeah. Well, I think it helps too that unlike the last generation, even though PS4 did so well, they have backwards compatibility
Yeah.
for PS4 this time around. So there's
That
not
helps.
really like a big downside to upgrading other than the cost. So
Right.
and I think the PS2 to PS3 jump, that was when we saw like the huge price jump when we went to HD. And
$599 US.
yeah, the $599, and Xbox had already been out for a year. So people were like, well, I'll just buy an Xbox and play Call of Duty with my friends. And I don't see any, big exclusives when that PS3 launched. Resistance was like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got a lot of good things going for that PS5.
And we just are fresh off of a PlayStation event after last week. Brad, how do you feel about, I always think about Sony really trying to hit. They're like that batter that tries to hit a home run every single time they get to the base. Do you get that vibe from them in terms of like what they expect to do the next couple years?
From like a first party standpoint?
I mean, that's one example of it. Just Sony's strength in general.
Yeah, I think they're doing just fine right now. I'm not worried about them pumping out content that people enjoy. Just the fact, Jones, that there's Spider-Man and Marvel coming out in this world that we live in right now where Marvel dominates everything.
Right.
They're going to be just fine.
And it was like, I was surprised we were so jazzed about these Marvel things, like just getting Midnight Suns. It's just like at what point does a new exciting Marvel game come out and we're like, all right, like in the moment, we're like, it's too much.
Right. I mean, it's sort of, it's the thing though, because I always get a little like frustrated when people are like, oh, just Mario again, and it's like, well, but you're talking about like 15 different series of Mario doing entirely different things, and so that's why, to me, it's like, well, Avengers is very different than Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Midnight Suns is going to be very different than either of those things. And Guardians of the Galaxy looks different than any of those. So it remains to be seen what Wolverine will be.
Yeah.
And how that will be different. I imagine it will probably have more akin to Spider-Man than any of the others. But
yeah. I mean, these games are like 2 years away, too. So
Yeah.
I think people will be more refreshed by the time they come out.
You know what I think? I think Batman's taken a step away from the Arkham franchise. The Suicide Squad's stepping in. Batman's taking a step away from Gotham Knights. All his compatriots are stepping in. Batman's taking a little vacation.
yeah.
He's gonna come back, baby.
Okay.
This gen or next. Some new
Batman
some new
coming back.
devs, some new thing, some new take.
A new Batman
A
take
whole
would
new
be
crazy
cool.
thing. But it's the same kind of thing. It's like again, it's like same with Wolverine. It's like I want to see this character in this gen. Yeah, they're gonna make a lot of money. Worth noting though, Madden NFL was number 4. I'm sorry, best-selling game of August. Number 4 best-selling game of 2021. It knocked Super Mario 3D World from the number 4 spot on that sales to date. Worth noting the digital sales are not included in that. Mario Kart 8 is number 7 year to date, not counting digital sales. So like obviously it's just crushing like all of these other things.
I just want to stop selling so they'll make Mario Kart 8. Just stop.
Man, yeah.
Or 9, you mean?
You mean
Yes, 9. That's what I mean.
I feel like they're holding on to that for like that next system.
Yeah.
It's like
if it was called Mario Kart Ultimate or Mario Kart Endgame, you could at least kind of feel a sense of closure. But it's like the 8 is just right there.
It's just it's just
Well,
so
the 8 is actually in Lemniscate, Jones.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's
It never-
an infinity
yeah.
symbol.
Oh my God.
It's
Oh,
just
no.
on its side.
How many
Right.
times have we been talking about 8 and that's never come?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's their big reveal when they just like Doug
But I
Bowser
s-
just turns
Wait,
the
Yeah, I
logo.
see the trailer right now. It just slowly just Mario Kart Infinite. Mario
Wow.
Kart Infinite.
But what's funny is that, they since the Switch game launched, they haven't introduced any kind of new like tracks or anything.
They don't
Well,
need to.
I mean, they had.
Well,
they
they
had
could
this,
sell to all of those people that bought it.
Yeah,
well, they
true.
had the passes or whatever. And then they had the free Link update they did with the Master Cycle, but.
But that was all included with the Switch.
You
version, yeah.
you can see though that they're really supporting the mobile game Mario Kart Tour. What's it? I forget what it was called. At this
Yeah.
point.
I think it is
just
Tour.
I don't even pay attention to it other than I see the cool costumes they're getting, like the new they're doing
So
all
much-
the post content
so much
release
cool shit
for
they
that,
can do.
and I haven't really paid attention to the financials of that. Maybe that's doing just as well as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it's like there's Nintendo's so weird sometimes about their post release support.
Right.
Where some games will get a good amount, others, even though they sell, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I'm pretty sure, as of right now, is their best-selling non-pack-in, like originally released non-pack-in game.
Yeah.
It's better. It has passed Mario Kart Wii, which is like insanity. So it's like content, just charge me. You don't have to give it for free.
Yeah.
Charge. Where's updates? It's like, what are you doing?
Animal Crossing definitely got a lot less than I thought it was going to. I thought they were, especially after sales, month after month after month. I was like, oh, this is going to be
I still expect there to be more, but I feel like it's
gotten.
gotten real quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing with Mario Kart 8. It's like now's the time to make Mario Kart 9. Now's the time to release Animal Crossing DLC, or it's not.
They're just like, eh.
And we take that money and do something else with it, make Metroid Dread, and then all these things will
But
keep.
that's the thing is,
Yeah, that's what's stopping.
that's a team in Spain
Yeah.
making Metroid Dread. Like,
Yeah, okay.
Also, didn't we hear a few years ago that I don't remember the the numbers, but that Nintendo had like enough cash on hand to just like float for like 20 years or something. Like,
Oh, yeah.
They just like to bank money.
Because people asked them, who are you going to buy? And they were like, we don't do, they bought, Luigi's Mansion.
Next level
devs.
games.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, who's next? Because everybody's like,
Yeah.
not only is Tencent gobbling everybody up, but, like Epic's
don't
making weird
Yeah.
deals. And Nintendo was like, that was a very, interesting case, a very unique thing.
Yeah.
We were kind of between a, rock and a hard place. But some interesting jumps with games. Some interesting games that were not on the marker. This game was 110 in July. This is a huge game. Someone at this desk reviewed this video game. It jumped to number 2.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
The director's cut. That's a massive game. That's why.
Right.
It's like one of their biggest. I think it's like their fastest selling new IP ever or something at the time when it came out. People love that
Such
game.
a big update in a lot of ways, a different game, and yet still is Ghost of Tsushima, so still kind of gets lumped into
Yeah.
like just that game's sales. It'll be interesting to see
Right.
kind of where Death Stranding ends up in sales total with like director's cut just kind of being added on top of that.
Right. Yeah.
But it was, I heard a lot of anger about director's cut, but I guess people weren't that mad. They still went out and a lot of people bought this
It was
game.
expensive for PS5. It's like $30, and it was 20 on PS4, and people are still mad about that, which I can understand because like
Yeah.
it's like why?
Last of Us 2 jumped to number 10 on the PlayStation best-selling chart, but that was after a price promotion. It was number 23 in July.
Got it.
So it's interesting to kind of see Sony like moving those needles and just knowing when to do those things.
Yeah, because it's been a year now for that.
And there was a PS5 patch I think for it too, so maybe that got more people in.
Dying to know. I need another big court case so we can get more like documents. Dying to know how much they thought it was going to make. It's like one of those things like how you when you like you push those buttons and those things are going to happen. A PC game, brand new PC game was number 4. Number 1 among tracked PC titles in August. The 5th best-selling PC game of 2021.
I think
Brand
I
new
know
IP.
this. I think I saw this though.
Huge PC release and a game I
It's,
did not expect to.
Humankind, right?
Brad, you're killing it.
Oh, wow.
Brad,
Yeah.
I've been missing you on this podcast.
At my lunch break,
You're just thinking about
I'm just like, what's going on? Because I'm apart from Easy Ollie so much now. I have to like keep up a lot more. I can't talk with all my coworkers as much now, man.
Isla, Humankind on your radar at all?
I've played it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, it's fun. It's Civ, but slightly different. Can't go wrong.
Great.
The thing that I found surprising was not only did I get super Civ vibes on this, and I was like, I must not obviously understand what they're doing. Like they must have a complete different angle that I'm not absorbing from their marketing. Their marketing was very Civ-like. Like the logo kind of looks like Civ, and the
Yeah.
music they use is kind of Civ, and
Well,
the
they know
art's
their
kind of
audience.
Civ.
They know their audience. But the
Clearly.
main
Yeah.
the easy version of the difference is that you're crafting your own civilization by combining little pieces of other civilizations. There's like a million different possible combinations or something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you could start off as like Egyptian in the Middle Ages and then move into like Germans in the et cetera, et cetera.
What did you think of their marketing? Was this a game you were like, I'm going to play this regardless of how much money they spend on weird live action commercials?
Yeah, I think I only saw the first couple of little things in whatever event they announced it in, but immediately I was just like, oh yeah, I'm in for that. Games like this I always play for like 4 hours and then stop, unless Sophia gets into it and then we play together. But yeah, so I was in.
Yeah, I was just curious if the genre, like, if there was room, because
Yeah.
tactically is not something I play a lot of games, but I see a lot of stuff coming out. So
The thing that people
strategy,
one
obviously,
thing
and
that a lot
simulation.
of people want in stuff like this is the diplomacy to be stronger, because I think that Civ has had some issues with that in the past. I'm not an expert, but yeah, and I was starting to get into it in this, and it seemed like it could have been interesting, although I did become an ally with someone like almost immediately. So I was like, why do you trust me so implicitly? But whatever, like I'm getting a good deal on ore out of this, so.
And obviously, kind of somewhat in a similar genre, but Crusader Kings 3, those patch notes have been such a gift.
Oh, right.
So yeah, the genre's doing really well. It's nice. It's nice to see not only people, things getting reviewed well, but sales doing well. Sales are doing so well. Things are so good over there at Nintendo, Damiani. A lot of people are saying it's time for a price cut.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's time for the Switch not to cost as much as it costs. Right now, the Switch dropped in the UK and in Europe because those are separate entities. considerably. Nice little price drop there. And everyone's like, oh, is this going to happen in the US? And Nintendo says vehemently, it is not. There are no plans whatsoever to drop that
they'll
price.
say that until 5 minutes before they announce it, but sure.
Yeah, denial for Nintendo. They've definitely said no, but I have
There's just no
denial,
formula to
it's
how they've done this
lies.
with consoles, so I really don't know. Like, I could see them...
a cursory
I can see
glance
that
at
budget.
social media saw some takes saying that, and maybe this is true, but I'm not versed enough in financial and economics of Europe and the UK, that it was just a currency exchange adjustment. That it was literally just bringing it into what its value should be over there with the changing rates or something over a certain amount of time, and that it will not be changing in the rest of the world because it was just like a correction in one part of the world. So,
Well, that counters what Bloodworth just said. Bloodworth says that I can hope until the last minute?
I mean,
Right?
They still can do it.
Right.
Nintendo can just say like,
So you're saying
"Hey,
there's a
it's
chance.
time to cut the price," though. But it was not.
Yeah,
custom.
never believe-
Both can be true.
Never believe
technically.
Nintendo.
Well,
Yeah.
but they don't have to now because the OLED will just replace the old one, and then they'll say, well, it's a new model. We can charge the same or more,
It's gonna be weird because OLED's coming in at $350,
Oh, yeah, right.
and OG Switch is $299, so like $300, and you
Yeah.
got Switch Lite, which is $200, and you have
It's
these.
never had a price cut, right?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Switch is still
Coming
doing all
up
this
on
with
5 years with
out
no
a
price
price
cut.
cut. This might
Yeah.
be I'm pretty sure this is the longest.
Light sales are actually a little bit down, and the Switch is just dominating.
But yeah, the OG Switch
Yeah.
is going, and I wonder if they do cut it by $50, bring it to like $250. That's something they do to keep the momentum going. But they would have to be seeing like a slowing of sales. But I can't imagine they do it before a worldwide one. Before the OLED version's out,
Yeah.
I mean, I would think they'd want to see how it performs, the OLED version, and maybe if they see some warning signs, like, all right, maybe let's cut let's do the price cut there because like we're not selling, like the OLED's not selling as fast, but it sounds like it's sold out already.
Sure.
And also the chip shortage. There were
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
saying like if you didn't get in that first wave, like it's going to be hard to get the OLED model for probably a year. So, I mean. With demand being so high, I don't know why Nintendo has to cut the price.
Right. I think
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like when they're basically selling the amount that they can send to stores,
I'm
What's
just
the
reading
point?
tons of articles where people are like, it's the perfect time. What are you talking about? And it's like, I don't know, man. Mario Kart 8's number 7. Like, I don't know. Like, this is
Still
just
$60.
It is.
All their
It's
games are
just
still $60.
Well, 'cause-
It's
Yeah.
just a system that the world has absolutely fallen in love with, and they just. Pierre Schneider posted a picture of his desk today. He was like, "Hey, look, I got this new new Joy-Cons," and there was like, I'm not even kidding, like 60 Joy-Cons charging like behind me. I was like, "What in the world?" You had like a sea of Joy-Cons. It's like, yeah, with
Whoa.
the fact that like Disney and all these people tried Activision, they all tried the whole figure thing, and Nintendo was like, "No, we're the only ones who are remotely gonna still be doing this." Toys to life, anything. So
Those Joy-Cons, man. They sell very well.
Remotely, Jones? Joy-Con remote?
Gotcha. I just think from a consumer perspective, people want the price cut though, because
And compared to other consoles,
because
like 3DS
historically
only took 5 months,
everything
blah, blah, blah.
has gotten like a price cut by this
3DS
point.
had to have one.
Yes,
They
it
were,
did.
they were spending money on warehouses for those things. They had
So,
to get them out.
I do empathize and see that angle, that there might be some frustration for people like, I really want to get a second one, but I'm not paying $300 for another one. Like, why isn't it drop price? Just like people complain about why Nintendo first party titles don't ever drop in price, as soon as like some other properties. But this is pretty much Nintendo's MO. They always do this, and they're as we just said, to reiterate, they're just like really no incentive for them other than like.
if it was your call, would you do it? Would you cut it?
I mean,
Or just
I
like-
would. I mean, seeing like if things were still selling out, it'd be like no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
exactly.
it's-
And will continue to sell out. The shortages aren't, people are saying it's not going to, middle out until 2023 potentially. So we're still going to be suffering all that stuff.
I could almost see them like, because they started doing the Disney Vault thing with like Mario All-Stars and stuff. What if instead of doing a price cut, they do a bundle where that's the only way to get that stuff
Oh, sure.
now?
For like a month.
Yeah, so it's like buy a Switch and get the Mario All-Stars for free, but it's like,
Yeah, but I do feel like bundles are meant to. I feel like they're targeted in a way to either they need to move. They need to move more of consoles. Like console sales are like slowing down. Like what can revitalize this? Oh, we have a really hot title right now. put this on it. Now, Super Mario All-Stars 3D All-Stars was a very good selling title. It's just like they could just bundle like Pokemon or something else with it, and it would do way better. On the flip side, it's like, yeah, a game they want to like guarantee it's going to sell very well and be like lucrative. It's like, hey, it's going to be part of this bundle, and here's a limited edition version of it. So like, where they guarantee it's going to sell out because all the enthusiasts want to get it. If I'm Nintendo, I'm just like, no, keep everything high, like no price cuts because everything's selling well. And I would imagine like same thing over at Sony. It's like you're not gonna no price cuts for a long time.
Right.
5,000 a day, 10,000 a day. People will pay it.
The OLED expectations, and also the fact that this, the Switch will kind of be, the one in the middle now, that like potentially most sales could go to the OLED after launch, and then like that sales of the Switch we all know and love and have played for 4 years, those drop. Do you expect that to happen? Does it matter at the end of the day? Like which performs better?
It'll be interesting because with the handheld versions, with the iterative models, I still feel like the OG ones were the overall best selling. Like maybe new 3DS surpassed. I don't know. Like it would be my only guess is like new 3DS. Like
no, I don't think the new 3DS would have done that well. I would
DS
say
Lite,
something
maybe?
like the DS Lite or the GBASP would. Be the
I don't
ones
think the
that would've rivaled.
GBASP would have.
God, I love the
like
SP.
like the Game Boy Advance Micro. I don't think like
No,
those
the
are very
Micro definitely
specialized.
not.
Like
But the DS Lite and the SP,
DS Lite
I think were
probably,
just very,
Dude, the SP
very
at the backlight.
big.
Had
Yeah.
to get it.
Yeah, you had to.
I
Get
feel
that
like the
SP.
OG one, like people just bought all that and were done. And like
I bought both.
I didn't get. I was super nerd. I didn't get an SP because I just didn't care enough about the backlight. But
Yeah, backlight.
yeah,
How
I
did you
did.
play that thing?
Huh? Because I just played in I was used to it. I had played like, Game Boy and Game Boy
yeah.
Color.
Wait, no,
like,
you were just clearly knocking the light level in the places that I was playing. I think that's what you were just doing right there. You were
Okay,
just
sure.
saying that you,
yeah,
maintained a correct light level in your
I guess, or
spaces.
something. I don't know, right? Like obviously, like it was a struggle as a kid, like playing with those games sometimes. But once I got a DS, I was like, oh, here we go. Things look much better now. I mean, at PSP and Game Gear, like my brother had a Game Gear, and I was like, oh wow, that looks very nice. So, but it like runs for 10 seconds
Yeah,
where
it
it dies.
dies,
So I was like, congrats with that on a trip.
But yeah, I feel like the Lite is probably the best chance of any of those upgrades.
Dude, the DS Lite from
the
the
point
normal
of-
DS was so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
The point I'm trying to get to is I do think OLED could potentially phase out the OG Switch, vanilla Switch, and just have light and OLED. But the problem is the shortage. It sounds like OLED's being hit harder by it for whatever reason. So if that's the case, they're gonna need to keep the OG Switch model around for as long as they can to maintain their sales. But under different circumstances, I could see, because having 3 SKUs at one time seems a little bit much.
Sure.
I mean, I get what Light's aimed for. Light was meant to be like the second model, the model for the kids.
Yeah.
A cheaper version that was a little bit like less likely to break.
Yeah.
But OLED is like.
OLED doesn't feel that different from the
Yeah,
original,
it's not
so
quite. It's not quite pro. It's not like super enthusiast. It's like I think everyone's just gonna want that one. People think that's gonna be the de facto one. Yeah. So yeah,
$50 is nothing to sneeze at, but it's like if you're buying the Switch, if you're finally like, I can't take it anymore, I'm getting one. It's like, then, yeah, why wouldn't you go big?
I looked up if the XL sold more. Are you interested in that anymore?
the XL.
Yes.
The 3DS
3DS.
XL?
And a new 3DS.
Oh.
But XL, yeah, sure.
There's
But
a lot of
Back
different
to work.
Did one sell more?
The XL sold more during its lifetime, but obviously not overall.
Okay.
It was only 33% overall, but it was 55% comparatively just when they were both out. I'll look into the new 3D. Actually, who cares?
Yeah, I don't think you need to. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
don't
different
worry.
3DS.
Yeah, don't worry about
Yeah,
that.
too many versions.
Yeah, cue corrections music.
Yeah, let the comments sort it out.
Hideo Kojima was being interviewed by Japanese lifestyle magazine Anon, and he said, quote, as translated obviously by publications in the US, "I want to do games that change in real time. Even as we've finally got people of various ages and occupations from all around the world playing the same game, everyone, and I mean everyone, is playing the same." It's a little harsh, but sure. "Instead of that, something that changes based on where a person lives or how they think."
How they
How they think. Okay, there you go. There's the Kojima
There
part.
it is.
I was like, how you
That Kojima
think?
madness.
Dude, I've been waiting for a game that actually literally psychologically profiles you like Shatmems was meant to do and like, like torments you specifically. Like, let's go, Kojima.
This is like the Psycho Mantis boss fight level. Of
Yeah.
like,
Sure.
here we go.
Trying to make Psycho Mantis video games.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like the collaboration in Death Stranding kind of speaks to a lot of that, like working together with other players to build bridges and stuff.
Yeah,
And so
that's the heart of the Strand genre, Blood Rage.
yeah. So I feel like if they could do that in a way that feels a little bit more seamless to where you could understand what's going on. But still it's like what do you mean? This is like it's still too vague to like
I think in
idea.
MGS5 the multiplayer mode, I'm like, ooh, that didn't really work out too well.
Yeah, I think the thing with like location though, just like you see with like I guess Pokemon Go is the most analogous to this.
AR is what people talk
where
about,
there's
yeah, in
something in a
relation to
specific
this.
location, people rush to that location. So does he mean like exclusive types of like content or whatever the game's gonna be if he ever makes it will only be like if you're like in the New England area of the United States, like you guys get this and then you have to be there. So it's like, oh, I gotta go travel there to like go get this like gun or this type of perk or whatever. Whereas us in the like West Coast, we get this. Like, does he mean like that, or is it like something more day to day, like it's something meant to be played on the go? So like you go to your coffee shop or something and like it starts changing based on that. But when you're at home, it changes that. Or you leave it in your car, like I'm assuming maybe it's a mobile game, and you drive with it, like it knows it's driving, so it changes based on that. So like something with like a GPS in it, it could more easily do that. This definitely screams of something that's like more mobile. Because how would it, like on a console, like that seems too restrictive. And I mean, but who knows? Kojima might be a mad genius who like has thought of something that none of us have thought of, and it's like, no, you don't understand yet. Your mind's gonna be blown when you see this. Just wait.
The first thing that came to my mind was weather. Like it just does the weather where you
Oh,
are.
that's a great call.
Or like the Niantic game that was before Pokemon Go, Ingress or whatever, where like I never played it, but if I understand it correctly, like different people in different parts of the world had to like fight for their faction to get that, their team to win or whatever. He could do something like that. But.
Or it could be like another Kojima game. Boktai. The
it
sun
that?
is in your hand.
He referenced that specifically,
Oh.
Blood.
Whoa.
You need sunlight.
Blood pulled it right from my notes. When did that game come out?
For GBA.
2002? 2003?
2003.
Okay.
Daniel Blood,
Wow.
everybody. Yeah. Tell me about this game. I didn't know there were vampires in this game, man.
Oh, yeah,
this
it's all about vampires.
This game looked totally cheerful and just happy. Boktai. I was like, yeah, it's just kind of fun. I was like, you're farming. That's what the game's about because you
Yeah.
have the sun for your crops. No, man, you're killing vampires in this
Yeah.
game.
Sick.
I've never even heard of this. What is
Yeah,
this?
so
Yeah.
it's a Game Boy Advance game. The cartridge itself has a solar sensor on it.
Sick.
And I'm
so
sure
you'd
it
have-
totally still
so
works.
you have to either play it outside or like, put the cartridge up to the window with the sunlight coming in to charge your weapons. And so you'd fire solar energy
Damn,
at the
that's
vampires. And then when you'd defeat like a boss and you'd get like the vampire into the coffin, you'd have to drag the coffin out into the sunlight.
Wow.
And then
That's
burn
crazy.
the vampire.
Dude,
Yeah.
Kojima.
I know. He was talking about like your breath, like having like a breathalyzer for a game that like
Oh
would
my
determine
God.
what
Yeah.
you've eaten.
Switch tried that, right? Or
Yeah.
Wii tried that?
I mean, Nintendo has, announced, not only patented, but like announced like 10 to 20 different technologies over the years that just never
Vitality
never
sensor.
happened. So yeah, I imagine a lot of kind of what he's dreaming would require some weird peripheral that people probably just wouldn't buy into. Or I wonder if VR or ARs.
Right. Well,
maybe he's working on, or if there's anything to do with the
PSP
next
had
game he's
some
working
kind
on
of
at all.
GPS thing back before it was common on phones, and there's some games that took advantage of that. There's some AR games on PSP and Vita as well, the Invisibles. But yeah, I don't know, because you don't want to go too extreme on it, right? You don't want people like driving across the country to see different things, but maybe a time of day thing could make some sense.
Or like, when talking about where you are, I love the idea of like people in their in their respective countries playing FIFA and then seeing how their team that represents their country, performs. And obviously in tournaments and whatnot, which I don't follow at all. But it'd be funny if Fortnite had like a nation event, where it was just like we would compete, like all the different countries would pick like the 10 best players or something. And then like they would all, like compete in some event that we don't have to like televise. It's something that's just ongoing, constantly built into the game. Splatoon kind of had weird things like that where they would just have events and it's just like we all care about this thing. Suddenly for a week and then move on to something else.
Yeah, there would be maps and stuff that was only during those events. Rogue Squadron 2 had the time of day thing going on with the Tatooine map. Do you remember that?
Whoa.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, so it was just based on the internal clock. So you like Animal Crossing, you could fake it. But yeah, the time of day would just match whatever time of day it is in the real world.
Yo, Bloodworth, your driving across the country thing gave me an idea. So what if it's AR, right? And what if it's phones or whatever, and you use your camera on your phone to do something? Obviously, this would get abused immediately probably, but like you use your camera on your phone or whatever, but you can like mind jack into somebody else, like siren style, and then you see what they're showing you on their phone, and you're like solving a mystery. So you don't have to drive across the country. You strand into somebody else and they show you what they're seeing. That'd be fun.
Another thing I think could be cool is potentially like planetary alignments and stuff like that. Something that fits into astronomy.
Whoa.
And so it's like, it's like, okay, Jupiter and Saturn are over there. You've got to get them, lined up at the right point.
It would be very Kojima to have like something programmed into his game that wouldn't happen for like 500 years.
Yeah,
Specific
That sounds more
confluence.
like
Yeah.
Yoko Taro.
Well, it's just like he does that, and then you get the wedding invitation from your cousin, and you're like, no. And you have to tell your cousin who's getting married, like, I can't be there for your wedding because the planets are aligning, and Hideo Kojima built this mechanic. I'm sorry.
That was it wasn't, they didn't play into the real world or anything, but that was a plot point in Eternal Darkness was the alignment.
Oh, yeah.
Kojima behind a new Eternal Darkness.
Yo.
This franchise is waiting for another alignment to come back.
What was the Wii game that used the weather channel? Not the weather channel,
Right.
but like the weather app on the Wii for like real-time weather in a game.
They actually
There was
had a
something.
few different like utility apps like that, but yeah.
There's one that connected to a game, though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember. Oh, I forgot.
I don't know. I
Flight
know they had
Simulator has a
Everybody
lot of it.
Votes. I know they had a distinct weather app.
What if Kojima remade Majora's Mask?
He was the one doing
They
it.
had a
yeah.
few different weird
insane.
things on the Wii.
Was it Knight's Journey into Dreams? That's a
Wii
Wii
version
game
did-
that you recreate real-time weather, apparently.
Night's Journey to Dreams did?
Yeah.
That'd be insane.
Whoa.
According to this article on Digital Spy, I don't know. I just googled that really fast.
Don't know. I knew that Wii version came out, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that one.
And this could have nothing to do with anything. It's probably just him saying
Him
he wants to
just
do
getting
something is like,
crazy
oh, okay, that's
ideas.
not the thing you're working on. 'Cause if you want to do something, you probably just do it. He hasn't cracked that one yet. Maybe we'll see someday. Saving this for near the end of the podcast. I originally copy and pasted and started typing away at the top. And then I was like, what am I talking about? This happened last Friday. This is 6 days old news. We are a business podcast, so we should talk about this. We have our legal expert, Brad Ellis, here with us. The ruling officially passed down on the Epic v. Apple case. And we have talked about this so much, and it is finally, it's not over for either of them because there'll be appeals. And obviously this changes things for business, but have to talk about this ending. And I went through and I read this ruling, and it is very funny. There are some parts in here that are extremely amusing to hear. And just a little more information, some stuff that we don't know about how these companies operate. Well, does anyone else want to speak for the ruling? Anyone know how this shook down between Apple and Epic? Who won? It's a big
Nobody.
fight. Who won?
I don't think anybody won, right?
That depends
I think
Apple has
Epic
to
won on
allow-
one point and
Yeah.
Apple won everything else, right?
Correct.
Something like that. Yeah.
Epic won one thing, but it is the thing that matters. It is basically that they can have people buy, access marketplaces that are outside the Apple ecosystem. Anyone can do that. On December 9th, Apple's got to figure that out and let everybody do that, basically, not only be beholden to the App Store when it comes to microtransactions and all that stuff. Basically, quote, Epic Games failed in its burden to demonstrate Apple is an illegal monopolist. Nonetheless, the trial did show that Apple is engaging in anti-competitive conduct under California's competition laws. Apple's anti-steering provisions hide critical information from consumers and illegally stifle consumer choice. When coupled with Apple's incipient antitrust violations, these anti-steering provisions are anti-competitive, and a nationwide remedy to eliminate those provisions is warranted. So I'm stepping in. Anti-steering was a big thing, where Apple's basically like, it's kind of like the ramp that takes you into Caesar's Palace in Vegas. There's no way to get out. Like, I dare you to find the exit. And it's just kind of what Apple wants to do. They're just like, no. You want to spend money? Don't. There's no, where are you going to go? There's nowhere else to go. And like, there is other places. Apple just doesn't. They don't let you know that. Epic originally filed a lawsuit against Apple in August of 2020 after Fortnite was removed, but they totally knew that was going to happen. Apple can no longer dictate that purchases made in apps on its devices go through the App Store. Apple previously collected 30% of that revenue. They can't do that anymore. But the judge ruled against Epic for all the other counts in the trial. And these are kind of funny. Apple is not in violation of the antitrust law. Apple does not need to allow Epic or anyone else to create their own stores on Apple platforms. Apple is not required to allow Fortnite back on the App Store.
That's the one the kids care about.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny.
Not required to.
I mean, it probably will. But they just have
Yeah.
to comply. Yeah.
Will they? You think? What a day.
It's
That'll be an interesting move.
They're gonna make money off of it again. Apple's gonna make money by letting Fortnite back.
They're certainly not going to make money after this case. I mean, this will hurt them. I would imagine. I mean, these are such big numbers. But that is so funny. Them just like, can they gotta let me get back in the store? Apple is denying Epic's request to release the iOS version of Fortnite in South Korea, which just passed legislation forcing Google and Apple to not limit devs to specific payment systems.
Oh.
And so Epic was like, oh, can we go over there? Like, no. Get out of here. Tim Sweeney said on Twitter, today's ruling isn't a win for developers or for consumers. Epic is fighting for fair competition among in-app payment methods and app stores for 1 billion consumers. And now we're waiting to see what Google does, because Epic filed a lawsuit against them in July of this year. So
Right.
we get to go. We will not go through all of this.
Right.
Potentially be the last time. So hooray. How you feeling? Law expert Brad Ellis.
Hooray, I guess. I don't know. I just feel so unaffected by this personally right now.
How many devs do you think are going to take advantage of this? Do you think it's just going to be a landslide of just like all these companies? Oh my goodness. The percentages we could, chisel down.
The ones that are in the position to offer alternative like payment systems will probably be like happy about that. But I still think the majority are probably just going to go with what's established already, because it's so easy. I understand like your metaphor about like, oh, you're on the ramp to Caesars, but it's like some people are like, that's convenient. Like I want to do this, so I want this one ramp up here. Just tell me where to go. I just want to spend my money. And it's like when you give them too many options, like what's this service? What's this like? No, I have Apple. I have an Apple card on my card on here. I'm paying the Apple Pay. Let's go. Like they just want to do that and pay and go. So yeah, I don't. I mean, I think it's going to change some things, but I don't think like every single like company all of a sudden is like, oh, we're all going to do our own payment systems and stuff. It's like, don't think it's going that way. I think it's just a certain select few big companies like Epic are
that
like,
can afford to do it.
Yeah, like we want to like get a better cut, so we're going to offer our own payment system.
I wonder if this is did Epic Blue Cow this, which is the thing that we did at Viacom, where you would intentionally put like a bad edit in something if you're dealing with an annoying producer, so that they would fixate on that, even though you knew that they would, just to give them something to do to feel important. But really what you wanted to do was to, like,
all the editors were mind gaming us at game trailers. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. We were being
John
manipulated the
Santo
entire
one time put V5 on something on the first version, and it went all the way to the top. It was perfect. I was like, oh my God, that's genius. But I wonder if this is the thing they wanted, and all the other stuff was just to like chum the waters, to like smoke screen so that one thing could, is this the thing? Is this the outcome Epic wanted? Like, was all the other stuff just fake?
Well, Tim Sweeney just tweeted that. He's like, we won,
Yeah.
and I, on financial publications, a lot of articles I read were like, Epic won. It's like, Apple, they didn't win everything, but it's, we chuckled at some of those other things they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this was necessarily a negotiation, but I mean, it's generally like what I've heard in like negotiation tactics is that like you start high. You
Yeah, you
ask for
aim
the
high.
highest possible thing because you want them to come down. So Epic was like everything. When you said like South Korea, like, oh, what's that? Yeah, like let's throw that in there. South Korea. Yeah, where's some other places we could be? Like,
But like they knew they would lose antitrust and monopoly and all that. But like this is what they really wanted. Yeah.
but also, yeah, to your point, it's like it probably seems so overwhelming and exhausting you out there. They're like, just man, we're saying no. I'll give them one thing. There, you get that thing. Like, I mean, maybe that works. I don't know, but I have to imagine like with these types of legal minds, like they probably see through stuff like that. They're like, that was probably the important point. That's the one that matters. So,
Some great quotes from this ruling. This one I cherry-picked from Steven Totillo on Twitter because he brought this one to my attention. Although Epic Games claims that it would not have a viable way of monetizing Fortnite without being able to sell in-app content, the record shows it monetizes Fortnite in 9 other ways.
Damn.
Let's try. Not just another way. 9. I am. Obviously, it's a slippery slope. It's a dark, dirty back alley that are microtransactions. I've been down that dirty back alley many times. This was shocking to me as a fan of those. Importantly, spending on the consumer side is also primarily concentrated on a narrow subset of consumers, namely exorbitantly high-spending gamers. In the third quarter of 2017, high spenders, accounting for less than 0.5% of all Apple's accounts, spent a, quote, vast majority of their spend in games via in-app purchases and generated 53.7% of all App Store billings for the quarter, paying in excess of $450 each. And it's funny because all these stats I was impressed by, but the 450, I was like, oh, those are your whales? 450?
Yeah, I was like,
That's your
that's
average.
your whales. Average.
From what little evidence there is in the record, these consumers frankly appear to be engaging in impulse purchasing, and both parties' profit from this sector are significant. This specific conduct is outside the scope of this antitrust action, but the court nonetheless notes it as an area worthy of attention.
Yep.
And
oh yeah.
this kind of speaks to one of the fascinating things is like, I look up to, Epic, I look up to Apple in terms of being big companies. I look up to Tim Cook and Tim Sweeney as these very successful men that have created a lot of crazy things in their lives. They have a lot of power. It's neat to see them brought into this court and have this judge be like, sit down. Like, games are fun and everything, but, it was, I don't know, it kind of felt like the adult in the room. And a lot of times when legal action or a lawyer brings a case or something, it's like, man, this doesn't feel like this is coming from an honest place within gaming. This feels like a person that is not a gamer, and that's wonderful because they're approaching this and being like, wait a minute. All of you are saying this is one thing, but there's actually something else going on. This isn't about video games. This is about microtransactions. From the judge's perspective, quote, in most economic ways, and in particular with respect to the challenged conduct, the App Store is primarily a game store, and secondly, an every other app store. So the judge specifically pulled out of the findings of all the financial information that went through it and noted games are everything to the App Store. Like, it makes sense, but like I didn't realize it was 53.7% revenue coming from less than 1% of people playing games and nothing else. It's like crazy.
It's crazy.
When you think about just mobile apps and just like how many people use their phones, and it's just like more than half that revenue is just coming from the video game industry.
Yeah,
I
but
guess that makes sense because most other apps don't have ongoing costs. Like,
Right.
you buy Office on your phone, you just buy it once, and then
Sure.
Yeah.
My Netflix account isn't through my phone.
and
Like,
even
I
a
didn't
lot
pay
of the
anything for
stuff
app.
that you would get, like people look for the free version, and all right, I've got it.
Right.
But there's something about games. And we talk about, the dangers of gambling and loot boxes and all that stuff. And it's like, there's just nothing. You can't compare it to anything else because it's only games that are really
Could you
bringing in
imagine
that
if
much
they were
money
like,
anyway. So
if there are microtransactions for like Google Maps, like,
Oh
do you
my
want? So like instead of paying a toll to the government, you'd pay like 25 cents to find the route that doesn't get you on the toll roads.
Google can see the writing on the wall, blood, and they're planning that stuff now. They're like,
Oh,
how can we
God.
make money before?
If you pay $3 a month, it'll tell you like where the
Google
speed
Highway?
traps are and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's gonna
man.
happen. Don't worry. I mean,
Apple Highway. Oh no, dude.
it's their fast pass and stuff.
Oh no.
Oh man, when the corporations just start building roads, dude.
just
yes.
nothing but Apple Plus billboards.
I mean,
just the whole
companies can have private roads within certain spots, but they can't have like
Yeah, it has
long
to be
long
on their
distance stuff
land,
has to
yeah.
be public though. So that take some serious.
It can be public
bribing
for a
shenanigans.
fee.
Yeah, public for.
Subscription is public.
Yeah, you just build it in the most like convenient place to cross some spot and be like,
Now included in your Netflix subscription, the highway access.
yeah, that's like your bundle. It's
Yeah.
like street access, ESPN Plus,
travel.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and
Elon
Bob
Musk-
Road over
Yeah,
here.
Elon Musk's Hyperloop.
And it's nice because this changes the business model. You know, this is a game changer for a lot of people. But the judge clearly put in here, I don't have this exact quote, but clearly said, like, I know why you're doing this, Epic. Like, yeah, this is cool that we changed this, and this was something that I'm glad you brought to my attention, and I'm glad that we're charging Apple on this count. But come on now. Like, it's like I'm looking at the history of your company. It's just so clearly, it's you know, blatantly obvious that you're like, oh, Fortnite needs to be on mobile. This is where we're going to get growth out of this. And so it's not like we're doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, throwing the thing through the television, waving the flag, like, stop it.
Well, it's crazy that it was worth 30% of every transaction to Epic to like risk it all, like to risk losing their place on iPhones entirely. You know.
I think because even like by lose, I think the worst case would have been they would have just like had to like renegotiate. Like if Epic had lost, Apple would just like tell them like come crawling back and like you're gonna get a worse deal now, but you can come back.
50%.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they're not required to put them back on there, so.
That too.
I don't know if you made a note of this, but wasn't there something in there where the judge was like looking at the Epic Game Store on PC and was like, yeah, you guys are not. This is not a profitable model. I don't know why you think that this is going to work out.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because they were making the argument that the 30% cut was too high for Apple.
Right.
And they were still using the Epic Game Store as their counterexample, and it's just like, yeah, I don't see how. Yeah,
Right.
this is very speculative, very optimistic that you're going to be profitable long term with this strategy.
I know, just the whole document reads like that, man. I know you're just sick of legalese at this point, but like it is an entertaining read because it's someone being like, this doesn't add up. Like these things, you're saying one thing, and then I look at the numbers and they're saying something else. The best quote, because we all have heard coming from Epic and Fortnite about the metaverse.
Oh gosh.
About what the metaverse is, what the metaverse could be, what the metaverse will be. You know, the metaverse being this isn't a video game. This is a concert hall. This is a creative outlet. You know, Fortnite will be in school someday. Like you know, like they have big dreams for this franchise, and they spent a lot of time during this case defining the metaverse and really trying to just tell this judge like, no, man. Metaverse judge, you understand? Like, it's really gonna be great. Quote: the general market does not appear to recognize the metaverse and its corresponding game modes in Fortnite as anything separate and apart from the video game market. Like, stop.
God, that's funny.
Yeah. Like, before I leave the bench, this metaverse thing didn't fly. Like, there were so many things they tried to define economic wise, and she was just like, no, that's not what you. That's not. They just defined the gaming market, and she's like, both of you got it wrong. Like, this is not. Ah, so entertaining. So happy it's over. A little sad to see it go, but thank you at least for that ruling, which I will cherish forever. Also this week, new broadcasts have been added to Oxenfree 1, promoting Oxenfree 2.
It's a very Portal of them.
So if you're digging up, what did Portal do? Do
They
have
like
Portal 2
changed the
stuff?
ending or something. Yeah,
Nice.
before Portal 2 came out.
Oh.
So if you're just like, oh, I'll just catch up on Oxenfree 1, like weird stuff happens and it's only going to be explained in Oxenfree 2.
I like the article I saw said it was leaking backwards through time.
Yeah.
I love it. It's
like,
really
sick.
good.
Oxenfree 1, chilling game. Very just spooky, eerie world to walk around. Twitch has sued two highly motivated, quote, hate raiders.
Heck yeah.
Highly motivated.
Although oddly they don't know who they
Yeah,
are.
that's the thing. It's at their hand.
Or, yeah.
Like their Twitch names, but they're not their real names.
I'm sure this
Like,
is not
oh,
something that
God.
will be satisfying in any way. You know, this is not something that's, you know, I'm curious to see what the results of that will be and if we will hear about them.
Yeah, I'm very curious how it will go, but at least that there's a strong statement and they're doing what they can.
Darkest Dungeon 2 enters early access in October.
Nice.
Just there's something about the summertime when just every now and then those Halloween-esque games announced for October, and you're like, yes, can't delay that. Nintendo just added Bluetooth to the Switch. There you go. You can just use Bluetooth headsets now, and headphones,
Finally.
and pods and stuff.
Good for if you could watch a lot. I mean, I don't have a video app on there since I don't have Netflix. Probably good for videos and stuff, but
Right. For games? You're not feeling it?
Because it's like the way they're doing it, it'll always have latency, and it's pretty noticeable.
Oh.
Like I use the Apple
did
AirPod
you?
Pros. Yeah, it's like the best case. It's gonna be like 200 milliseconds. Like if you had like the perfect optimal
okay.
connection. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's okay for like casual games, but anything that requires like platformer or something, it's like off. If you rely on sound, like, oh, I hit the jump button, I heard the sound, you don't hear it. Like, did I jump? Yeah. It's like
Interesting.
Marty O'Donnell has to pay Bungie almost $100,000 for using music promotionally without approval from Bungie that he created for Destiny. They had like a really bad falling out, which we don't really know anything that happened. He's being very cryptic, but like angrily cryptic about it, and just using his stuff because he wrote it, but it didn't own it, and they told him not to, and he kept doing it, and they soon won. Deltarune Chapter 2 launches on September 17th on PC and Mac. That is
Undertale?
obviously
Undertale.
Undertale, a continuation.
Toby.
Battlefield 2042 is delayed to November 19th. Dying Light 2 is delayed to February 4th. Stadia's director for games, Jack Buser, is moving to Google's cloud division. Another high-profile departure for Stadia. Good for them.
I think they had 3 games this week or something.
And former Capcom USA CEO Kiichiro Urata has joined PlayStation as the new SVP and head of the Japan Asia Partner Development and Relations Division.
Vision.
Indeed. Let's play a game! Yeah, I know. I didn't tell Ira this was going to happen. Thank you for starting the music. I appreciate the music. The lights. I'll let you know. Cool. This is from Francesco, and it's called Nice.
Nice.
We love swimming in sevens, but what about the quaint, nice game sitting just below 7? Below is a list of this year's games that may or may not have a nice score as per Metacritic. If a game has a score of 69 out of 100, it is nice. If it doesn't, it is not nice.
Nice.
Bonus game. If the game isn't nice, then is it nicer or naughty? Is it higher than 69 or lower than 69? Here we go. Aliens Fireteam Elite.
what?
Nice.
Higher.
Is
yeah.
is it nice or is it nicer or is it naughty?
Nicer?
I thought it'd be
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it'd be nice.
Wait, what is
Right there.
nicer? What's the level on nicer?
Just higher.
Higher than
anything
69.
higher.
70.
Oh, okay.
And naughty's anything lower.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay.
So nice is only 69.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Aliens Fireteam Elite.
Nice.
Nice. Outriders.
Nicer?
Nicer.
Nicer?
It is nicer. 72. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection.
Ooh.
Huh.
Naughty.
I'm going to say nice.
Let's say nicer.
Nice. Ghosts and Goblins. It's kind of a bummer. Thought it'd be a little higher than that.
Yeah.
Cruise and Blast.
Wait. Naughty.
Naughty.
Naughty?
Nice.
Oh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Destruction All-Stars.
Ooh, naughty?
Yeah.
That was
naughty.
That was like the car
We group streamed it.
brawling one. Yeah.
You've played
on
it.
PlayStation
It was fun
PS5.
for 2 hours.
It's
Yeah.
PS5.
It was
You
fun.
can jump out of
yeah,
your
it
car
was,
and
that was
jump
it. It was
into
about
other
fun for
cars
2 hours and then you're done.
Yeah. Below.
Naughty.
Yeah.
12 minutes.
Nicer.
Crap, it's all over the
Naughty?
place. I'm going to say nicer.
Nice.
It's nicer. 77.
Okay.
They did okay.
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance.
Oh, that's
Naughty.
naughty.
That is a naughty game. Naughty Dark Alliance. And finally, Pokemon Unite.
Nice.
Nice.
I'll say nice.
Nicer?
Nice.
Oh, it's nice.
Pokemon Unite.
Okay, I did find the 3 Stadia games for this week before we get on to the next
Okay,
question.
cool. That's a perfect segue. Read those off.
Okay, so can you probably can't even guess. You probably have no idea what the
Nope.
3 Stadia games for this week are.
Hit us.
New games that launched today, which was Tuesday, I think. Let me see which day.
It's got to be
This
old
past
games.
Today's Thursday.
No, I mean when this email came to me. The 14th, yeah. So this is Tuesday. Were Merrick's Market, which I think is actually a fairly new game on all
cool.
platforms.
Good for them.
Wow.
Darksiders 3
Darksiders
That game was like 2 years ago,
3.
3 years ago.
and Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Black Flag's a good game, but do not.
Getting the hits.
Also, Ubisoft.
How much would you pay for
2014
Black
things
Flag
got
right
the
now,
hits.
Brad?
How much would I pay for it?
Yeah.
$15.
$29.99.
Too much.
Whoa.
And you know they've been working with Ubisoft's working with Stadia this whole time. That was put on an Excel sheet in 2018.
That's
You
a
know, we've just been waiting for Black Flag. It's the next one on the list.
2014 game, I think.
It'll be Assassin's Creed 3 in 4 months.
It's pretty old.
Dude, Google has sunsetted like 6 different messaging / chat apps that I've used. Why are they still doing
Why do they do
Stadia?
this?
It is time for love and respect.
Love and respect.
From Rahul Misal, with Venom and Kraven the Hunter teased in the Spider-Man 2 trailer, I wanted to ask about villains in superhero video games. Do you prefer when characters without movie versions are used, like with Mr. Negative, or prefer characters with iconic live-action history like Doc Ock? After all, Kraven is going to have a movie come out in the same year as the game. We can never count on those now. I didn't know that. It's like an animated movie? I didn't know Kraven was going to.
Can I cheat? I like both.
Oh, wait, I did know that because Sony is making as many Spider-Man things as they can.
Yeah,
They
of
lose.
course.
That's right. That's why we're getting the vampire. What is more Mobius? And yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm
I like both, if possible.
Yeah, as to whether they're in one and not the other. Yeah, I don't know.
They have more work to do with a unknown entity. Like Doc Ock, I already have the Molina version, so I have some stake in it. And I'm like, oh yeah, and if it's better than that, I'm like, this is great. Whereas like Mr. Negative, I'm like, who's this guy? They have to like prove him to me, you know? And I think that's harder, you know, because you actually have to like write an intro and stuff for them.
Clock King for Batman. That's
cool.
The next main villain.
That would be, yeah. I loved when Batman Begins came out because they actually followed the model that, like, if Schumacher had made another one, he probably would have gone back to DC and been like, who else you got? And they were like, literally next on the list is Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul. And he was like, okay. You know, like, that was like the next most popular villains of like all the Rogue Gallery. But yeah, I don't get picky.
Yeah, I think I might be the opposite of Isla, where if the movie has a strong villain already, like I just don't think they're going to be able to outdo it. So I always get worried when I see it when it doesn't look like the character because it didn't use the likeness. I'm already like kind of checked out. Whereas like a newer villain, it's like, oh, I don't know about this villain. Like I feel like it's easier for me to get invested in it without those biases coming in already. I don't necessarily think it's easier to make that character better. It's just like for me, it has a better chance that I might like it.
Right.
Yeah.
No expectations though, if you don't know. That was the thing about Mr. Negative. It was like, he's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how involved like he should be. It's weird not having expectations and opinions about that. From David Erdy. Hey, allies. I watched a video where Robert Kurvitz, designer of Disco Elysium, went into detail on all of the UI challenges presented to his team and how he sought solutions to those issues from unique sources like Twitter or computer taskbars. I found this topic fascinating, as menus and the ways we interface with games have evolved dramatically with very little fanfare amongst the community for these changes. What do you consider some of the most significant touchstone interface and design decisions done in gaming over the generations to make them better to play or even more engrossing?
I mean, got those twin stick shooters. Once that became a standard, right? Particularly, after Halo. Before that, like, you go back and play GoldenEye or Time Splitters. You're like, what the heck's going on here? It's like,
Yeah.
so that's definitely a thing to where, if you don't have your controls set up like that, it's very difficult for, you to get people into them.
Not having to like save to a
Spot.
memory card or
gosh,
something.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
man.
like actually like it just saves as happening. It's like you don't have to worry about it's like it's there. It's done. You don't no weird things you got to worry about losing or add space.
Auto-saving.
Yeah.
Oh, and cloud saving
Auto-saving.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
becoming more and more of a thing.
On the graphic user interface
Yeah.
side, I remember the jump to HD, and I don't remember what game it was.
Dead Rising?
Well, or GTA 4 or something, where I was like, oh, I need a new TV. Like, I can't see any of, like, all the text was too tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was a negative, where it was like, oh, HD's happening and I can't see this anymore. Like, it's too small.
Yeah, Dead Rising was literally the text was too small to see on the pixels.
Yeah.
They
Crazy.
they just did not think. There's another game I had reviewed. Was it with the Wolverine game or something? I forget what game it was. But I remember like there were specific bugs that only showed up when I was playing in SD, because at that time I didn't have an HD TV yet when I was reviewing it at game trailers. So yeah, that was kind of crazy. Other interface stuff though.
But the small I know there's a lot of people that still complain about not being able to adjust text size, subtitles.
Right.
Specifically,
that's
but more
a different
menus
thing,
and stuff
though.
like that.
It's one thing for it to be too small that you have to like get close to it. This is
Right.
like didn't matter how close you were.
Right.
You could not read
The
the text.
TV literally couldn't show it.
But
Yeah.
that definitely was like a transition we went through in the 360 PS3 era where we were like, oh, everything's getting like a lot smaller. It always cracks me up when I go back to a PS2 or an Xbox game, and the GameCube also, but like specifically PS2, more PS2 really than Xbox. It's just the weirdest menus I've ever seen in my life. Like you go back to like, the NES and like they're clean, they're like everything's like really succinct, and there's just something they're all like fuzzy and like the buttons are huge, and it's it's wild. Everything was just like enormous, and I'm sure it's like going back to your preschool or something. You're like, oh, it seems so small now. It's just like we're just so used to these really really tiny HUDs now.
Well, and it's like there are certain fonts that are very particular. Like I don't know if it's like in the SDK for those systems or whatever, but it just feels like there's a certain Xbox look to menus on that system.
Just menus in general on consoles, like not just you put in a disc or a cartridge, it just plays that game. There's nothing like just when we got to like PS2, Xbox game, it was like 360, PS3, Wii. It's like woo menus and stuff. Like I can scroll over. I have multiple games on my system at one time.
That blew my mind the first time I saw it. I was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, what is this? Like I just go. I mean, I think at first I was a little annoyed. I'm like, I just can't put my game in. It doesn't play. I was like, what? But now it's like you can't live without that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, or you kind of had that in between stage, right, with the like PlayStation and GameCube and stuff, to where like there was a menu that would come up
if you hold
there
down
was no
shift on
disc
PC,
or something.
Yeah.
And it was always there was a fun little thing you could do on the GameCube is you could see either like this little icon and a custom description that would be on that menu page, or you would get the PlayStation had this too, to where you'd see like little icons on the save files.
Oh, for the memory cards, dude. I loved that.
Which carried over on the PS3 anyway, because when you go into the your virtual memory card, it still shows them.
They're so cool. Yeah.
So cool.
Damn.
Oh, I see what they did. Nice.
So many little visual things over the years, like console cursor stuff, like Destiny, where they make the reticle, a cursor thing, but it slows down over the buttons so that it's not like impossible to do, or like being able to turn off motion blur or head bob and all that stuff over the year. Editable field of view, like
different performance modes
Yeah.
for console games.
for console games. Yeah, like so many, and I mean accessibility stuff. Like Last of Us 2 is like god tier at that. Like just really good stuff.
From Varun Kachwaha, I think this is long overdue. Review sites need to do something about user reviews. It's at the point for me where I don't even check them. This month, Life is Strange True Colors got review bombed for having a Tibetan flag. Deathloop, strangely enough, got review bombed by both PlayStation and Xbox fanboys. As a fan of both these games, it hurts looking at them. I can't dream what it would feel like as someone that developed those games. It's a stupid, childish act that helps no one. What would the panel do, if anything, to try and stem this issue?
I mean, I don't really want to get rid of the ability of people to express an opinion, but it does suck when you like see stuff that's like a 0 and it's like the game's fine. It's like these people don't know what a 0 is for a game or stuff like that. But in like some cases, I can kind of get it, because like Warcraft 3 Reforged was pretty bad, and it was like the lowest rated game ever, I think, on there. So I don't know.
It's difficult because it's a system that obviously the sites that have them, they benefit from the search and the ads and the clicks and all that kind of thing. But they clearly don't have the money to back up the moderation that needs to be done.
No. It's just Wild West
like,
in there.
Realistically, you would have at least when somebody is submitting reviews for the first time, that like, somebody just like skims over them and like clicks through the first 10 reviews and like, okay, this dude seems legit. After this, we don't really need to unless we get a bunch of thumbs down on them or something. But it would require a lot of crazy moderation that just there's no way you have the manpower for.
That's too much.
Yeah.
I feel bad for people that make like really like they like really try to make a good review for something like a fan or something like that. It just gets buried in a wave.
Well, that's what's strange. Is just because it's like how, like if you're trying to do that. Like if you're trying to write like a good review, like I don't know that's the place to do it. Is, you know, like, are people getting noticed for writing good user reviews by other
think
users,
so.
or is it just like?
But I think some people trust user reviews more.
Yeah,
there's definitely that level of things. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, people who buy on like Amazon or whatever, like they say like user reviews is like one of the like leading factors that influences a choice between one or two products. It's like half-star difference. It's like, well, that one is a higher star. I'm getting that one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I also agree. I don't know what you can do because like manual things seems like that's like never like no one's gonna go through that much effort. And even like automated stuff and algorithms, it's like there's always gonna be a way to like beat that system. I mean, they require a purchase, I know, like on these stores, to, like so people just buy it anyway because they're that angry. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, Steam
And then-
is inquiring a couple hours into the game now.
Just
like,
AFK in your game.
Yeah.
Like just make a note on your calendar. Tomorrow I'm gonna post my hate post on like my review bomb tomorrow. But just leave it.
note in your game.
I mean, they probably do that, and like they leave it on for 24 hours, like just AFKing on the site. Like it says time played.
Pro review bombing tips from Michael Damiani.
I mean, I'm guessing
People will go
here.
to extreme lengths.
Yeah, that's the
about
thing. Like they're
things.
motivated, so
Yeah.
like this is like nothing to them. I feel
I
like.
equate them with like bad drivers. It's like it sucks. It makes me angry. And I actually had like a couple months ago, or it was maybe like a year ago. I was like, this is ridiculous, and just because we're reviewers, and I was like insulted. You know, I'm like, you're pooping on my profession, and then I was like, oh, whatever. It's nothing. I can't do anything. You know, like there's nothing.
Well,
nothing I can say. Nothing we can do.
It's also difficult because when you're talking about like an Amazon user review, generally I think those are helpful for people with like utility type products, right? Like if you buy a pan for your stove and it like the thing starts flaking off and you see a bunch of people reporting that, it's like, well, this is a problem, obviously.
Right.
Whereas,
Yeah.
games and entertainment, there's just so many more subjective opinions that go beyond,
Right.
And the things that would be like really big and obvious don't happen with major games. You're not
Well, and you
going to
don't
get
see-
like a tone that just goes for 3 hours straight or something.
You don't see thousands of people review bombing a pan for a stove either. Like,
Right.
there's something to be
'Cause
said
they're like,
for
who gives a shit
the
about this
medium.
pan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, the best I think they can do is like just have something where they see a surge and like a spike in something, just temporary suspend, like the ability to do it, like just like suspend it, like go in and like see what the heck's going on with that, and then like go from there. I don't know, like
would you have like a placeholder that's like it's
Just
our
put a message
it's our
saying,
idea
we
that
detect-
this is being unfairly
they
fluctuated.
just say
or
we
something
detected it like an anomaly.
Anomalous.
Jeez,
Yeah.
An anomalous
the amount of like that's like out of character for this thing.
Right.
We are currently reviewing this. It will be back short it's like it's just temporary. It will be back. I mean, I'm sure they'll draw outcry as well.
Oh, it will, and I think it might get worse.
Yeah. So it's like that's the thing is like then it becomes Streisand effect where it's like like you just let the like haters like hate it out and stuff, and it's like all right, it's over. Positive reviews start coming, it starts going back up. I don't know if that works in any case where games recovered from review bombing, or if you just like
There definitely have been.
or if you just like suspend it for a while. Maybe some of them get frustrated, like, all right, we're gonna go do something else right now, and like they forget to do it, so like they mitigate it a bit, and so it's not as bad. I don't have the answer for that.
Well, it's funny too because like sometimes in the past, like if something is actually a problem and the only way to get a message to the
Right.
like review bombing in very few cases has actually worked and
Right,
has
like
done
for
the thing.
de
But like
novo stuff, right? Like the
right, but like hate bombing a game because it has a Tibetan flag in it or whatever
right.
is just like what are you trying to achieve? Like because that's the long and the short of it is like reviews, professional or user, are a useful tool, but either you care about them or you don't. Like doesn't matter really. It matters to the companies maybe, but I don't know. Yeah.
I'd never heard
There's-
that referred to as the Streisand effect. I had to look that up. That's awesome.
I don't know if I
That's
used
cool.
it correctly.
You did.
I know,
It's Barbra
what-
Streisand.
I know
It
what
was
it
named
is.
after
The
her.
effect. I just didn't
The
know if I
idea
used
of like
it.
being like, no, nothing to see here, and it makes it way
Yeah, it
worse
makes it way
than
worse.
you could
Yeah.
possibly do.
Yeah.
The Streisand effect. Sorry, Bloodworth.
I mean, alternatively, in a way, like there should potentially be some other outlet for that kind of complaint. You know, like
It's called Twitter.
but no, I mean like within that system, you know. So like go back to Amazon. You know, you've
Right.
got the reviews, but then you've also got like the Q&A thing where somebody's like, "Hey, does this product do this thing?" And somebody that owns it will come in and answer the question. I think similarly, there should be a space for just like you have a single issue with this product.
Right.
There's another board for it that's not
I was
like
gonna say, it sounds like a form.
a review with a score on it.
It seems like the people who are designing and building and paying for these services don't get to decide where that happens.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they can be like, do that here, and it's like, no.
I was gonna say, like, unless you like
No.
explicitly state in the rules, like this type of like whatever is not allowed in like the user review section, you should put this here. And so if like review bombing crossed that line, so it's like, okay, all these users are gonna get banned now because you should have posted this here, then you violated that. But if you don't have anything like that, I mean, these people who are trying to do this are still they're gonna ignore that. Like, we don't care that you gave us a better place to do this. Like, this is where we want to get our point across, and like we want to hurt this like company or this game, so we're doing it here. So they're just going for like what they feel is the most damaging thing in some of these circumstances. So not all of it's like, they're not all being like fair about this.
Right.
Yeah.
From Brandon Ray, recently the original Oxenfree was updated with additional content that alludes to and specifically promotes Oxenfree 2. Personally, I love when game studios revisit old works and help tell a more seamless story, leading to a sequel like this. Do you like this kind of update? What are some memorable examples of other games, Portal 2 from Bloodworth, that have released similar updates?
I remember RE2 Remake put the Nemesis in it
yeah.
recently.
Right in the demo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just
It
back
was in the
there.
demo. That was in the
In the
game.
Oh, the
the
actual
game,
game.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember that. But I think these are cool ideas. Give you a reason to revisit that game. That's awesome.
I think the only thing that makes me a little hesitant on it is, if they had an original ending and they just like replace it.
Oh,
You
sure,
know,
I get
it's
that.
like-
Yeah.
And then after the fact, it's like, well, okay, so I guess this bridges the gap a little better, but maybe that thing would have been better in terms of just thinking of it as one thing and not thinking of it as an extended universe, essentially, and just like, okay, well, where's that going to leave off, so.
And this is a different genre, and so obviously they cater to this type of stuff. But like MMOs, baby, like when 14 fell and then rose again.
Oh, yeah.
Just that whole how the environment changed and how it's neat to see MMO worlds like stuff pop up. And before Lich King came out, there was a zombie invasion.
Yeah, the
You would just like
pre-patch.
zombies would just start eating NPCs, and they were just like zombies running around like
Chaos.
dozens and dozens of them, and then would go away. And it was just kind of like you imagine just signing on and being like to your guildies, like, "How we doing?" It's like, you should have been here half an hour ago, man. Like all these zombies just stormed Stormwind. It was nuts. But yeah, fun. From Platinum Declan, what if? What if the Sony Marvel gaming universe? What if instead of Insomniac alone working on Marvel, it was all the AAA studios at Sony? Which IPs would you give to which dev and why? Platinum Declan nails the one that I would do. Punisher from Naughty Dog. What about Guerrilla Games? Sony Santa Monica. Housemarque. Which IP best fits which dev's talents?
Oof.
Wolverine from Sony Santa Monica, God of War-ish would be pretty good.
Well, like Thor would be too much. Just do Thor. They're like, we just did. Just do Thor.
Gorilla?
That is funny, though, because they have all the assets.
Sucker Punch.
They're doing the Blade game.
Oh, that could be cool.
Yeah.
I can't remember their name, the Astrobot people.
Oh, Asobi, I think?
I want them to make an Ant-Man game. See what they do with that.
Good call, dude. Good
That'd be
call.
fun.
VR.
Sure. Yeah.
The what if?
Yeah, Ant-Man in VR makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised they didn't. He's like always wears a helmet. Yeah. Good stuff. Time for bets. Next week's bet. Kena, Bridge of Spirits, launches on September 21st. Kena, Bridge of Spirits launches
Every
on
time.
Saying both.
Every time we do it.
The game is called Kena, and then no one can say I did it wrong. Launches on September 21st. How long will the launch trailer be? It's a Sony game that they're pumping. They love those launch trailers.
Well-
Always.
Sony's been
Kind of pumping.
promoting them somewhat, but they're pretty much on their own, so.
I think I've done the Sony launch trailer bet like 3 or 4 times, and only once did we actually get burned. They did not get launch trailers. So lowest.
It wasn't at the
TRT.
PlayStation event, was it?
No.
No, they talked about it like after, I think, for like a second.
Ugh.
Just kind of like we talked about Horizon Forbidden West. Like there wasn't trailers or anything from it. Brad, how long is it going to be?
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Cool. Michael Damiani.
2 minutes, 45 seconds.
Okay. Isla Hink.
1 minute, 12 seconds.
That's a quickie. All right. Daniel Bloodworth.
1:47.
Right in the middle there, because I got 2:41 right under Damiani. Sneak it in. We'll see. Sometimes those are long. Sometimes I think it's like, what's their launch? You're done. You just do a big haha, it's us, it's today.
Smaller game,
Some people go for it. Sometimes you get like a big cutscene or something.
Yeah, I also think it might be a game where they don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Sometimes they're just like, hey, it's out.
Deathloop launched on September 14th. I read the last 10 reviews on OpenCritic, and I wanted to know how many times would I see the word Juliana, a.k.a. Juliana Blake, the adversarial multiplayer character opposite the protagonist. Michael Huber bet 30. Michael Damiani bet 10. Isla Hink bet 22. Daniel Bloodworth bet 18. And I bet 26. All right. One by one. I went to Polygon. They had 3. I went to Financial Post. They had 7.
Whoa.
Wow.
I'm out.
I went to The Guardian. They had 2. Game Grin had 4. Gaming Nexus had 20. Huber wins.
Whoa.
Gamer
20?
I stopped there because that went well past 30.
Shit.
20. 2 people wrote in this review. One dude in italics just jumped in the middle of the review and was like, hey, what's up? Brian here. I just want to talk about Juliana for a second. So Juliana, when she's Juliana, I was like, all right, never mind. Huber wins.
She's a prominent character.
Yeah. Bringing our scores to Jovial Penguins 25.
We don't even know if we're in this room. We could be in a turtle's dream in outer space.
Vociferous Beaver 16.
Nom 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 nom.
Might be the highest score we've had bets on the podcast just ever.
Long season.
I never even hear our score because I'm busy looking at a Danny DeVito quote.
Well, I'm not telling you again. Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. Instead,
Oh, thanks, man.
patreon.com/easyallies, where you can go to support the Easy Allies. All of this craziness that you see about you. We get a streaming room over there that we do a bunch of streams from. If you only listen to the podcast, all of that is funded primarily through Patreon, which we have been doing for almost 6 years. There's lots of fun things that you can get. You can get this podcast 2 days early. If you like listening to it on Sunday, you can get it on Friday, and the Patreon version has no ads and has 2 extra love and respect questions. And you get it early. At the very tip top of our shout-out tier is our top tier on Patreon. We have wonderful people that we would like to shout out right now. We ready? Shout out to L. Thanos, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Caleb Togi Crawford, Nick, and Faisal Patel. Happy birthday. Shout out.
Shout out.
Nice. So Huber won. That wasn't Damiani, so that's you,
That's
baby.
me.
Yay. Now go back to jury duty. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word on anything you disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into your head. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Brad, I'm curious. You said you've been digging around through stuff. Have you watched anything that you normally wouldn't watch from our channel?
From our channel?
Yeah.
No. No. I don't. I interact with you guys all the time, so I don't really.
Yeah.
I think everyone's kind of like that, though. Final word.
I do like Gundam building. It's fun. It's fun to just pop into Gundam building
Yeah,
for 5
Gundam
minutes.
building's
and
fun.
You know, just be like,
I
what are they
wish
talking about?
it's like the net. It's like, oh, I'll see what's going on. And like 2 hours later, I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
I did like that series of movies. Oh, wait.
Final word with the Apple and Epic thing. I feel so disconnected from that entire situation, but it is a fascinating thing. So, yay, I guess. Promotion. Check out my review of Lost Judgment. It's a sweet game, and writing it while I'm doing jury duty was a very interesting experience. If you know those games, very interesting.
Wow.
Until that, that's it, everybody. Be excellent to each other. Goodbye.
$599 US.